Welkom bij dit webinar waarin we meer vanuit Winning Temp gaan vertellen over welke 5 manieren er zijn om de medewerkersbetrokkenheid te verbeteren. Ik ben Jeanette Schouten, marketing consultant bij Winning Temp. En samen met mijn collega's Carl en Amanda nemen we je in 3 kwartier mee in de data die we tot onze beschikking hebben en de resultaten van ons jaarlijks onderzoek. Voor degenen die Winning Temp nog niet kennen, het is een Zweeds bedrijf van origine en heeft software ontwikkeld om medewerkerstevredenheid te meten en te verbeteren. Dit is gebaseerd op uitgebreid onderzoek vanuit de Universiteit van Gothenburg, gecombineerd met artificial intelligence. Dan gaan we nu door naar onze sprekers van vandaag. Als eerst Carl, Head of International. En daarnaast Amanda, Engagement Lead van Winning Temp. Beide zitten ze momenteel in Zweden, dus ik schakel hierbij over naar het Engels. Good morning, Carl. Could you introduce yourself?
I can. Good morning or good day, Janet. Thank you very much for the introduction. Nice to meet all of you, even if I can't see your faces, but hopefully you can see mine and hear me out. My name is Carl. I work as Head of International Expansion at Winning Temp and support our growth outside the Nordics. I have been at Winning Temp for 6 years and also have 15 years of leadership in my experience. And today we're talking about the 5 success factors behind engagement. And I have my colleague Amanda. She works as customer engagement lead at Winning Temp. Amanda, are you with us as well? I hope so.
I am, of course. Hi, everyone, and welcome. Just as Carl said, my name is Amanda, working as engagement lead here at Winning Temp, meaning that I focus on leadership development, team development, and organizational change. And we'll lead this webinar together with Carl today.
Great. And I heard you, I tried to understand a bit of what you said in the introduction, but please use the time and ask questions, and we take them after the session, and we'll stay for a while after that as well. Otherwise, we'll get into this and start explaining about what we will talk about. And before we go into the 5 success factors, we want to share with you just shortly about what Winning Temp, what we actually do. And Winning Temp is an employee engagement or employee experience software, which means we helps organizations to gather insights about how people feel. We have looked into a lot of science together with the University of Gothenburg, and there are 8 meta-studies that are based on 600 total international studies based on engagement levels, commitment, well-being, and we have try to understand what is the most important factors that we want to measure to keep track of the employees' engagement levels. And we've done that together with a distribution model, which is based on AI, which means our customers get the help to have the right service, the right questions sent out to the right employees, the right teams and the organizations at the right time. So the system will help to address what is important now in my team or for this individual. So with that, we can try to see what is it that we really need to have focus and pay attention on at this moment. So instead of doing an annual or biannual survey, that could of course give value as well, but we want to give much more real-time experience of how the employees are perceiving work situations. So that's a bit about us and what we're doing.
And today we are trusted by about 1,500 companies across 30 countries. And you see some of the companies that we work closely with on the map. But with that said, today's session is about employee engagement. And we will talk about winning factors for increasing the engagement in your organization. So you might ask yourself, well, what are the engagement levels right now? And there's plenty of research connecting to employee engagement, but we have chosen a study made by Gallup, and you see it on the picture to the right. Here you see the engagement levels from the year of 2000 to 2022. And if we first focus on the bottom line, the dark blue one, showing the global levels of engagement, we see that it has been increasing the last couple of years, but we are on quite low levels. We see that only 23% of the workforce are engaged. If we look at the blue line on the top, we see what they call a best practice organization. And they have a level of 72% engaged employees. So what we see here is that we can develop, we can all be a bit better. And that is actually why we at Winning Temp have looked into both research and our Winning Temp data to try to help you strengthen the employee engagement in your organization so that more companies reach the levels of 70 or more %. So Carl, will you guide us through how we did the study, please?
Yes, I will guide you shortly about that. And also just me and Amanda have both worked for Winning Temp 5-6 years, and we met thousands of managers and a lot of management teams and organizations. And in the job Amanda is doing as customer engagement lead that I also been involved in. So we've been really curious about understanding what is it that really strengthens the engagement factors in the organization. So that was the curiosity for us to really dig into our own data. So what we have done, we have millions of data points that we have gathered during the last 10 years as a company. So we thought, let's dig into this data and really see what the correlations are between high engagement. So we have, as Amanda showed, we have looked at successful companies that are succeeding with high engagement. We also seen that they staff is staying longer, are a bit more committed, engaged, and are also performing better. And the well-being situation is often better. There is less stress and the psychological unsafety in these organizations. So we did this, we looked into our data, looked at the correlation, what is the most important factors that managers or organizations really need to focus on and succeed with if they want to keep staff longer and have them engaged. We also worked with a team at the University of Gothenburg led by Leif Dente is his name. So we also backed this up on the scientific perspective. So that's the background, and is in the studies we will sort of share 5 winning factors, and they are not new to you. I think you will have heard about them before, but it's a proof of that they are so important to succeed with and continue work with. So Amanda, I think you are ready to share the first winning.
I am.
Way.
Yes, we have 5 winning ways. We will go through them one by one. We will share some research, some insights from our own data, of course, and some practical steps and tips and advice on what you can do to increase the different ways that we will present. So the first one, meaningfulness, make work meaningful. This is important. But what is meaningfulness at work? Well, when we look into research, we see that the definition is usually that you have a job that is more than just paying the bills. It means that employees, they feel that they're doing something meaningful, that their job connects with their own values, interests, and that they feel fulfilled and valuable at work. The difficult part with meaningfulness is that it varies, often quite greatly, from person to person. So what I find meaningful might not be the same as what Carl find meaningful, or you listening, what you find meaningful. And this, of course, makes it a bit complex. There is a quite well-known story connecting to meaningfulness, and that is when the US President John F. Kennedy visited the NASA Space Center in 1962. And during his visit, he noticed a janitor carrying a broom. And he interrupted his tour, walked over to the man with the broom and asked, "What are you doing?" And the janitor said, "Well, Mr. President, I'm helping to put a man on the moon." To most people, he was maybe just cleaning the floor. But through his own perspective, he was helping to put a man on the moon. He was helping to create history. So in relation to meaningfulness, this shows that meaningfulness is also a mindset, an attitude. And here, you listening, being managers or leaders, you have an important role in helping create that mindset and inspire people to see that they're doing something more than just doing their job. So why do we need meaningfulness at work? Well, of course, we see that people or employees that experience their work as meaningful, they perform better, they have higher creativity, it favors internal knowledge sharing, more satisfied customers, higher motivation and satisfaction, they feel better, and just as Carl mentioned before, they want to stay. To the picture to the right, we see some insights from our own research and the report Fighting Turnover. And we identified that it also differs between different generations, and showing that millennials are 3 times more likely to quit than other generations if they do not find their job meaningful. So this makes it even more complex, of course, when it comes to meaningfulness. But we have a pretty concrete tips about how to create meaningfulness. Carl?
We do. Thank you, Amanda. And we will share a few tips and tricks. Usually we have a lot more to share when we have more time. But one of them, as Amanda said, is a vision board. And this is implemented in our company many years ago by our founder and CEO. So we have worked a lot with positive, trying to find positive emotions and also instinct motivational factors. So this is one way to really look deep into yourself and see what is meaningful and important for me, not just at work, but also in life in general. So what you do with this exercise is to look at your strengths or your superpowers. You also look at a few things that you want to work with and improve. And then you're trying to visualize what is important for me to succeed with, or what are my goals in life in general. So what is my motivational or instinct motivational factors? With doing this, you can share this with colleagues, and it helps building, of course, trust, psychological safety, and understanding of each other. So it's been a fantastic way for us to use in Winning Temp to get to know each other from other perspectives. I think it's 2.5 years ago, me and Amanda was a part of a team. We were around 20 people in a kickoff, and a few of them were new. And we did this exercise, and we were sitting down, not with everyone at the same time, but in smaller groups. And I remember a few of our colleagues, they wanted to buy a house for their families, or together with their families. So that's just for me, it's been so important to be able to follow other things than just what's happening at work with these colleagues. And now I think, Amanda, both of these individuals have bought their house, actually. So it's fantastic to also see the progression and the ability to follow people's life in a structured way. So that was winning way number 1. Let's go ahead. And what is number 2, Amanda?
Winning way number 2 is connecting to communication. So communicate a lot. Probably not a surprise to you listening that communication is important when we talk about engagement. But we see it quite clear in our own Winning Temp data that questions that we measure that are in relation to communication, feedback, information, they have a great impact when it comes to the levels of engagement. And there are some quite good benefits with a good and strong communication. Carl?
There are, of course, and also important to mention here, because when we go out and meet management teams, very, very often it comes up that we're not that good at communication. We want to improve our internal communication. And what happens is that many focus on information and the processes of informing. But we've seen in studies that if you inform too much and don't give the opportunity and possibilities for employees or even managers to actually communicate and give feedback and listen back, it's not good communication. It can have a negative effect if you inform too much without giving the possibility to actually get feedback. So in communication, there is so much you can do without it, or with it, sorry, but it increased the commitment and sense of belonging, which is so important. It contributes to building a healthy organizational culture, and it reduces the number of conflicts and strengthens cooperations and the way we are working together as a team and an organization. So it's a very important one. We have a few methods that we also have implemented and work with our customers that can help them put focus on parts in the communication that is most important to them. We move on and take winning way number 3.
We move on, and number 3 is learn and grow. And this is connecting to personal development and creating a culture of learning. And many talks about learning at the moment, and studies shows that the companies, they often offer, that companies that do offer comprehensive training programs, they have up to 218 higher income per employee than companies without these kind of training efforts. What also is discussed at the moment is the half-time of knowledge. And new numbers show that the half-time is down to only 5 years. So what does that mean? Well, it means that in 5 years, 50% of the knowledge that we possess today will be out of date. So that really shows that learning is something that you should include in the day-to-day business to make sure that you have a business that will survive. And we have some more research from PwC, Carl, that you will share.
We do. So a recent study, it's from this year, that PwC did worldwide from 105 countries and more than 4,000 CEOs. They asked about the future. And it was quite clear from these CEOs, the verdict or what the message was, evolve or die. So more than 40% of these CEOs said that they will not have a sustainable business model if they continue as they are doing today. So they really need to adapt and change what they are doing fundamentally if they were going to succeed. And as you can see here, if you're succeeding and working with a continuous learning culture, it decreases your stress levels, it's increasing your productivity and helps you feel more successful. It helps you become more future-proof, so you're able to take on new challenges going forward. And you feel happy, you feel better, and you feel more safe in your work. So it's very important to work with learning ongoing in your organization.
Then make learning a habit. So what does this mean? How to create a culture of learning? Just like meaningfulness, this is quite difficult and complex, I would say. But when it comes to make learning a habit, we see that learning should not only be on specific occasions. It should not only be that you send your employees on a course once a year or a seminar twice a year. If you want to succeed creating a culture of learning, it has to be integrated in the day-to-day business. And you also have to have the mindset that you can learn something new pretty much every day. So when you meet a colleague, when you discuss something with maybe someone outside of your team, that is an opportunity to learn. So here again, being a leader, a manager, listening to this webinar, you have an impact on creating that mindset and supporting a culture of learning to make sure that the learning is integrated. And most important actually is to set aside time for learning, because the number one reason employees say that they do not take advantage of workplace learning is that they are too busy. So if you set aside time for learning and reflection, that will help you in creating a culture of learning together with a change of the mindset. And then we have the fourth winning way in leadership. and that is connecting to trust and psychological safety. Believe in your people. Also something that is discussed a lot at the moment. So if we start with an example, you listening, have you ever been in a meeting where you have questions, but you do not ask those questions? You might feel a bit afraid of asking those questions and don't want to look dumb in front of your colleagues. I believe all of us can relate to that situation, probably. Well, then you have been in a setting where there is lack of trust and psychological safety. And then probably all of you have been in a meeting where everyone asks questions, where you can share both learning, mistakes, and people, they listen to you without judgment. Well, then you have a setting with psychological safety and trust. And I believe Amy Edmondson, the one actually landed the concept of psychological safety, she put it so well, because she says that every time someone has a question and they do not ask that question, every time that happens is a chance for learning. So that is why psychological safety and learning goes hand in hand, I will say. And here you see the definition of psychological safety. The belief that no one will be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or mistakes, and that the team is safe for interpersonal risk-taking. And the background behind psychological safety, since Amy Edmondson is the founder of the concept, is that she was doing research for her PhD, where she wanted to study the relationship between making error and teamwork in hospitals. And she expected to find that the most effective team, they made fewer mistakes. But she found the opposite. The teams that reported the most errors, they had the best teamwork and they were the most productive. This, of course, made her curious to know more. And when she dug into her data, she started to suspect that better teams might be more willing to report their mistakes and learn from those mistakes because they felt safe doing so. And there are quite many benefits of having high trust and psychological safety.
There are, of course, Amanda. Thank you very much for expressing. And also, I want to share with you, maybe you mentioned that, Janet, in the beginning, but we have a report with a lot of data. We call it fighting turnover in English. I know there is other words when we translate it to Dutch. You will be able to download that or get it from us afterwards. But in this report, it's so clear, and we try to look at what are the biggest reason to people leaving organizations, and it comes down to trust. And if you see on the screen here, 87% are more likely to leave if a manager don't keep their promises. So they're so important to work on trust, and it also builds psychological safety, as Amanda mentioned. And what does it give? What is the core benefits? Well, it increases innovation. It helps you with the quality, so you will have better quality of the work you're doing. You increase commitment and job satisfaction. You also focus much more on yourself and the work tasks because you do trust your colleagues to a higher extent, which allows you to actually focus on the quality of your own work. We keep staff longer, so lower staff turnover. The brand will increase, both the internal, of course, brand, the EVP, but also from an external perspective, the reputation of your brand, and increases growth or profitability, the KPIs you actually work with. So trust and psychological safety is such important, and it's quite often that we get the question about, oh, what of these 5 winning factors is most important? Where should we start? And usually our response is, well, dig in deep to yourself and look on what's important now. But it's quite clear that you need to start somewhere, at least to have a basic with psychological safety, with a trustful organization. So that's winning winning way number 4, and we're gonna move on to winning way number 5, which is make work fun. And make work fun, it's related in the science to job satisfaction, and it's of course about having fun together with your colleagues, giving the ability to really get to know each other both in work and outside work. So after works or team building exercises is very important, but also looking into the job satisfaction and the possibility to really get your ability to succeed in your job. It's so important. So listen, most of the sort of us that works for an organization, we have more problems than we actually can solve. And this is because we have an organization that focuses on solving other person's problems. That's what we usually do in one way or another. And if we do it good enough, we get more problems as an organization and individuals, of course, as well. So if you're sitting with 3 problems that you have the ability to solve, you often maybe have 5 or 6 in front of you. So what we need to do here to make the job satisfaction work is to give employees the prerequisites to succeed in the job, the ability to actually finish their work tasks in time and with quality. So that's also very important when it comes to make work fun at workplace. And employees are much more likely to stay at an organization if they have fun at work. We could see in another report we did during the pandemic that people that at least were working in a company that pretty much closed their offices and sent everyone home, that they were starting to look for another job. And we saw that people were much more likely to switch jobs. And this was one factor, that the job satisfaction went down for many employees during this time. They had the same job to do, but it wasn't that fun because they didn't have their colleagues next to them, or it wasn't that fun to be by themselves. So we stay longer, we have higher quality, and we increase productivity if we have a good job satisfaction. One way to work with job satisfaction is to work with praise. Within Winning Temp, we have a function in the system called praise, so you can give praise peer-to-peer. And it's about acknowledging positive actions or happenings or situation you see, behaviors, for example. So it's a very easy way to focus on if you want to just do small changes in your organization and just positive praises here. There is a method that we use called what and why. So also very easy to implement and try yourself. So what did someone do? And why was it of importance for you? So why did it mean so much to you? So if you use that instead of just saying, hey, thank you very much, good work, you will have a better depth in the praise. We also seen in praise that the people that gives more praise than others, they have lower stress levels. So they feel less stressed in work. So you're not just giving away an emotion, a positive emotion, and helping someone else. You're also helping yourselves because you are, by that, thinking about others, and it's releasing your stress levels. So it has a really positive effect on both the one you give praise to, but also yourself if you do give praise. Okay, so that was the 5 winning ways. Amanda, I think we were quick this time about sharing them. So make work meaningfulness, communicate a lot, learning and grow, believe in your people, and make work fun. Let's see, Annette, we'll let you come in and see if there are any questions here.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm looking into the chat. So if anyone has a question, please let us know. I do see a few first questions, so let's start with that. Well, you mentioned the 5 success factors. How important is the order to start with? That's the first.
Yes, I can. No, it's not. it's not a specific order. We have choose 1 to 5 because we needed to have them in one order. But I think it comes back to where you are as an organization, what's important, what does the data or employees or what's important for you now. So it's not you need to start in this order or start with that. I think one thing that we have seen is try to focus on maybe 1 or 2 at the moment, either as an organization or as an individual manager. So me and Amanda worked with one of our clients. There are around 700-800 employees, an IT tech consultancy firm, and they let their manager choose together with their team actually. So they took the 5 winning ways to their teams. They talked about them, and they said let's decide together now what is important for us and what is helping us developing. So I think that could be one way.
So prioritize where there's room for improvement. That's the most important thing, and involve the team members to have, well, to decide whether or what you are going to focus on. Great. So let me see. There is another question. Oh, there's someone who needs to go. Okay, that's also a possibility, of course. Thank you for joining. I have this question in the chat. Is the software Winning Temp in Dutch?
We do have all the questions in Dutch.
Yeah,
yes,
we do have all the questions in Dutch. Yeah, so there are a lot of first Dutch companies who are using them in Dutch. So and it works. Another question I see is, how can you make sure that people really adopt the change?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess it's about following up, about working with the communication as one part is here to really gather feedback. And I mean, we are maybe a bit to focus on real time and doing here and now. Of course, it's important to sort of keep track of change over time, but it's very tough to measure change if you're not there and are eager to really have feedback. So make sure that you have, if you don't have a system like Winning Temp, use other systems that helps you keep track, but also implement good routines for communication and getting feedback from the employees, and also important KPIs.
Okay, and how do you make sure people are giving their feedback? Because that's a difficulty for many companies.
Yes. Once again, you use systems like this, or you make sure once again that you have, of course, trust, and you have possibilities. Amanda mentioned about asking questions. It's just about giving everyone in a team the ability to ask questions and think about the informative sort of, or something new or something strategic. Give everyone the chance to actually think, reflect, and then give feedback. If you implement and make sure that is important, it's also going to be something that you focus on and spend the time on. So I think that's very important.
And I would say to make sure that the employees understand the what's in it for me part, so that they see a great value in being able to give anonymous feedback in real time, and make sure that they use that opportunity. But for them using that opportunity, they need to understand the purpose and the what's in it for me part. And I believe that is the key to get honest, regular feedback from all employees.
Yeah, and that's important to really have the change in your organization. So, any other questions? I don't have any more. Well, in that case, we can close off early. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending the webinar. In the email, there is a possibility to make an appointment if you want to have more information about Winning Temp. And for now, I wish you a very nice day. Thank you, Carl, and thank you, Amanda.
Thank you
very much. Have a good day.